Ready to go live. Oh, sweet. We are live. We're back.
Yay! We're back.
Yay. Yay.
Wild.
So that's right. That's right. Happy Thursday, everybody. We are back. So, Jolene, when I was putting together the broadcast for today, I realized that the last one that we did was June 18th.
June 18th. So,
June 18th, a little over a month ago. We
yeah.
were on live. Wow. I
Mhm.
feel like it's been forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's
Crazy.
crazy because, we started this in April, right?
April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice a week for April and May.
Mm-hmm.
June, I think we went to once a week.
Right.
And we took a little hiatus.
We took a little hiatus. I think we all need a little hiatus,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there's just like so much. I think there's so much going on just mentally in my brain that I just, I needed a little bit of a mental break. And I'm not going to lie, I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but like spring market is here. And even though it's July,
Right.
it is spring market. It's crazy how this market is going housing wise around here.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Everyone.
maybe we should just do a quick introduction again. So just in case no one, my name is Tanya Blosser. I'm a real estate agent here in the local Northern Virginia market. And I thankfully we can talk about this. I thankfully have one child that is now back to school, which is so great. I can tell, like, having that bit of my time back is just amazing. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm with my beautiful co-host, Jolene Moore.
Hello, I'm Jolene Moore. So I'm with Main Street Home Loans and a local lender that we help clients with refinancing as well as purchasing in our very strong, crazy housing market.
Yeah, it's just nuts. It's just crazy. So anyway, so what have you been up to for the past month?
Well, let's see. I had my son turned 20 on the same day as you.
I know.
It's
Best day ever because I share it with Cooper.
kind of crazy to think that I have a 20-year-old. I'm like, that is insane.
I know.
Yeah. So, so he turned 20. Gosh, 4th of July, that was fun. This heat has been pretty much keeping us inside, even with, without the COVID situation. I can't stand being that hot.
Yeah. Oh, me too. I am with you. Like,
Yeah.
I swear, I feel like we're in a cave in here because I like lots of natural bright light, but we've been keeping the shades turned and stuff just so that we're not fighting it every day. And it's like, I feel like I'm a cave dweller.
No, it's really, basically I'm in my office, as you can see. So I'm coming to my office probably 3 days a week, just because it's myself and one other colleague. We basically are in our offices with the door closed. It's just a lot more quiet.
Yeah.
As you guys have seen before, I have a 4-year-old, and then I have now 20-year-old and 18-year-olds, and the combination of all three of those, plus my husband at home,
And the dog.
and a dog. So I need to have some time to be able to just really focus. So yeah. So coming in here, and it's just like we talked about. It is super busy. Our team is getting in a good place, and we're acclimating to. We switched companies, in earlier in the year, so I feel like we're kind of cruising. But yeah, it's just been crazy. So I'm going on vacation in a little over a week, and I'm very excited.
I'm so jealous of you. I have to say, like, the one thing that we've taken beach vacations for the last couple of years, and we're not this year, and that just makes my heart so sad because there is something so very soothing. First off, getting out of your house, number one, and then going to the beach is just really great, especially this year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to live vicariously through you.
Well, you took a long road trip. So how was
it? I did. It was great. So we went the opposite direction of the coast. We went to Iowa, which to many may not sound like a really great time, but I have to tell you. So we went to go visit my husband's family. Partially lives there, and they just have a great space there. We have so much fun when we go there. Of course, they have horses. As you all may know, like, I have an older daughter who rides horses, and so for her to live every day for a week or plus straight, like, getting up and being with horses. And I mean, she does everything. Like she'll get up in the morning, she mucks stalls, she turns the horses out, and then they ride at some point, and then she, it's whatever else the need of the horses. So that's really great for her. They have a pond there that they take care of so well. It's almost like getting in a freshwater. I mean, it's like in a pool almost. So we go float there every day. My father-in-law is a fantastic cook. My brother-in-law is a fantastic cook. Jolene, I think I told you we had a crawfish boil, which I have never had before. But anyway, so it was just really good fun. And it was so perfectly timed because we'd never driven there. We've always flown. And so it was a 14-hour, 2-day trip. And so just seeing that part of the country when all we've seen is, our house or just a tight radius around their house was just so great. And it also was interesting to see how different parts of the country are dealing with COVID.
Right.
And, we got to some of the travel stops along the way, and like we were the only ones wearing masks. And we thought, gosh, that seems so foreign, right? Like it was just really eye-opening. So it was good. We didn't have any fighting in the car, which I was super blessed with. So it was good. And unfortunately, we are all really still sad, even though we've been back for 2 weeks, because I don't know if we're going to have another vacation other than maybe, a side trip here or there. So,
we were looking
maybe in the fall
to get away for like a weekend, like to Deep Creek, up in Maryland, something like that.
For sure.
It's amazing. Like everything is booked. Like I think because everyone is driving, because not nobody, but majority of the people are choosing to drive, especially if it's a family, rather than flying. And it was, I've been going there for years. I've never seen it where I searched online and I could not find one place. Like
that's crazy.
A hotel, like the resort, just staying, but I wanted to stay like in a house or a townhouse or something like that because we'd have the whole family. But yeah, I was like, wow. So it's really, like you're saying, I think people want to get out of their house. They want to go somewhere different, and still try to be safe as well. And that is something we experienced too when we were traveling, because we did go to the beach in June. So I am fortunate to go twice in the summer. Yeah. When we went to the beach the first time, hardly anyone was wearing masks. Well, they've now changed that, and it's now mandatory when we're going back. But yeah, it was weird. It was like, what is happening? Like it just, I don't know how different areas of the country handle it.
Yeah. So on the way back, we went through Indianapolis, and I'd never been through that area. And so my husband and I were like, well, what's in Indianapolis? And he's like, well, the Speedway. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, not like we're ever going to probably be there again. So let's at least go drive by it. Let's see it. Let's take a picture. Let's, whatever. Well, they happen to have a race there, which on a side note is super exhilarating. Like you do not realize how loud NASCAR is until it was like bonkers crazy. And anyway, so that was pretty cool. But so they had a race, obviously, like as I mentioned, but they didn't have any spectators in the stand. Mm-hmm. So there was lots of people that were lining the fence there. And so we were like, oh, okay, well, let's get out and go take a look. I swear this one span of fence, there was probably 50 or so people there. They tried to distance, but there were so many people on this one piece of fence that it was like, there certainly wasn't 6 feet. And we were probably one of a handful of people that had masks on. So I was just really, we were shocked. And at first we were like, well, should we get out? People are going to look at us like we're going to get mask shamed because we have them on, So, but we did. And we were like, you know what, we're going to see it and we're going to just do it this way. So.
Well, and that's where I think it's interesting because, basketball, I guess, is getting ready to start next week. And last night there was a scrimmage online that my son was watching for the NBA. And how all these different sports are trying to come back, but in different ways. Like I saw baseball yesterday. They were, it's something about, how some were kneeling for the national anthem, I think when it was, before the game, but they all have masks on. And I was like, how are they going to do that? Like in the dugout, do they have to wear masks?
I know.
I haven't seen it yet because I know it started, but I haven't watched. So I'm like, it's just such a weird world we're in.
Twilight Zone. It seems like Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, if you think about it, I don't think at least my brain has completely wrapped around COVID yet, and the whole idea of just where our world is now. Like I don't know. It's like I guess I'm, when you're still going through something like this and you're still trying to pick apart the pieces, like you can't look at it from a I don't know, from a larger perspective, I suppose. But it is so bizarre. Like I just think about going to the grocery store and I'm like, gosh, I got to put a mask on. It's like, and oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw mask etiquette 101. First off, like the disposable ones, when you try to breathe in, especially in the heat, it comes with you. And so then you feel like you're gagging and choking. I don't know if you've experienced that. Like I've had the disposable ones on before and like I'll take a breath in and because I'm a talker. And so I'll take a breath in and like the entire cotton piece goes in my mouth. And like this is not working very well. And then the other thing is I was dying for a tuna fish sandwich the other day. So I went and got one. I was in my office and then I ate it and I quickly put my mask back on and then I could smell my breath. And I was like, whoa. So anyway, that was a little off topic, but like I'm with you. It's just I don't know how we're ever gonna, absorb this world that we're in. That's so different.
Well, you and I both had new headshots done last
Yes.
week.
Yes.
Feels like already a long time ago.
I know.
We were there at separate times, but I'm very excited to get them. You already have a fantastic one. Mine, I'm not.
Yours is great.
I walked in to the studio and I didn't have my mask on. And I was like, I just totally blinked on it. Like I was rushing out of the car and, trying to get all my stuff to come in for to be able to change clothes, like, and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had it fortunately, but like I went to get my nails done and I totally forgot my mask. Fortunately, they had one to give me. But I'm like I still like, even though we been doing this for a while, I still forget. Like
it's crazy.
So
my new thing this summer is I will tell you that like for years I've had a huge Starbucks. Like I was a Starbucks fiend, right? And it's kind of waned a little bit in the last, I would say, year, especially the last couple months. But now I'm on to tropical smoothies. Like I love me a tropical smoothie, especially as hot as it is. And I did the same thing. I walked in the other day and I didn't have a mask on and I have no idea where my head was at. But people were looking at me and I was like, I don't understand. Like, why are people looking at me? I didn't even get it. I walked up, because I did an online order, right? So I can just go in and pick it up. And then I realized I didn't have a mask on and I was like, I felt so bad. I felt like I broke the law.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
Maybe I'm pulling my shirt up over my nose trying to order like this. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I know. You do. You feel like you've like committed the worst social faux pas, right? Ever.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. So we mentioned the housing market. I mean, it's, one of the reasons why I just been buried. And I know you have been the same exact way. I mean, ever since it was building in June, for sure. And then ever since I got back from vacation, which is about 2-ish weeks now, yesterday and today was like the first light of day that I saw. I mean, it's just nuts.
So what are you experiencing? Like share some of like, you've had some listings, right? So how have those gone? How quickly have they, went off the market? How like showings? Like share a little bit about kind of what you've been experiencing in that regard.
So I had 4 listings that went active in like the last, I would say 10 days or so. 3 were single family. I'm sorry, 1 townhouse, 2 single family homes, and a condo. Out of the 4, the only one that's still active is the condo in Alexandria. And I think there's something going on with the condo market. I think that there's a little bit of a shift going on, but nonetheless, so the townhouse, which is out in Reston, actually it was a pretty cool project. It was a project that the sellers did a fair amount of renovations in, which was really fun to be involved in. But anyway, it went under contract in probably 2 or 3 days. We only had 2 offers on it, but we really didn't, it wasn't like we were trying to hang our hat on the number of offers because the first one that came in was so absolutely fantastic that it was above list price. many of the contingencies were removed. So sellers decided, like, what are we waiting for here? And the other two single family homes, but one in Springfield, one in Alexandria, was very similar. They took about 5 or 6 days in order to go under contract. In fact, one of them we had set a deadline on, and there was so much activity that it went active pretty much on a Thursday morning. We had offers coming in by that Friday, irregardless of our deadline. I think on that house we had 40 total showings in 3.5 days. I held it open for 2 hours on a Saturday. I think I had like 18 or 19 groups come through in those 2 hours. The house in Springfield was the same exact way. In fact, the open house traffic showings were not quite as strong. But I mean, maybe by 10, maybe they had, 20 or 22 in 3 or 4 days. But the open house, there was actually another agent with me that I'm mentoring, and her and I, thank goodness there was 2 people, because I was like traffic cop, which is, it got to one point I felt like, okay, this is starting to get a little unsafe, and it was really hot on Sunday, and we were making people stay outside just so that we could get, only but so many in different parts of the house, and the house was only so big. And then there was the heat, and it was like, it was a little bit of a conundrum, but there is so much activity. And I know, a lot of it is obviously fueled by what's going on with interest rates. On the flip side, I also have 2 buyers right now. And while one of them is still looking, the other one has started to make a decision on one. And it's a house that's been on the market for a long time because it was way overpriced. And so, they're a little lucky because that is not the norm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, everyone's trying to be as safe as possible. I think that there's always that underlining tone that we need to make sure and reinforce that safety is always the number one key. In fact, in all of my 4 listings, I put individual bags of PPE in there, so that if people didn't have masks for whatever the reason, or gloves or something like that, then, I had those provided for them. And I was going through the houses and wiping down stuff as much as I could because of the number of people that have just been in through them in a very short amount of time.
Right. Yeah.
So, how about you?
A realtor I work with, she was mentioning one of her listings. She had to schedule, there were so many people wanting to see it. They had to be in like 15-minute increments of being able to get everybody into the house to see it.
For
Obviously,
sure.
only one group at a time, but
Yeah.
yeah. And I think you just mentioned, though, there are still opportunities. And it depends, I think, like on the seller, from what I've seen, and what it sounds like just what you described is some sellers are going to be, you know what, we got a great offer, we're going to take it, and we're going to move on. Others want to get as many as they can, have escalation clauses, see kind of what, opportunities might exist. So it's interesting, like buyers having to navigate through knowing who that seller is and what they're looking for and what they're willing to do.
Right. For sure. One of the other things that I found with 2 out of the 4 listings was, and it's just an interesting conversation to have, but offer expirations on them where they would try to come in early and then put an offer expiration on it. And I think you just really got to be careful about how you use that, because it puts sellers in such a sour mood that the offer could be fantastic, lights out, maybe one small thing that they want to counter back on, but because of that offer expiration, they're turned off by it. And I know it is personality dependent, but by and large, it's one of those things where I feel for buyers, and I have those shoes on right now too, but it's one of those things where you just got to be careful about how much you press on. Sellers are in the control, they're in the driver's seat right now. And, it's just really interesting. Everything that's going on and all the dynamics.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, I guess it also depends on the property, like the one that your, buyer is looking at that has been on the market for a while. And I've seen that too, where, the sellers are coming on thinking, oh, the market's so hot, I can kind of offer whatever. I haven't seen that people are willing to, when it starts that way, it's almost like kind of like a turn off to the buyer, kind of like what you're talking about, the expiration, that if you start out, more competitive and then you go up, that's a different mindset for a buyer than you're coming straight up here and they're like, oh, I don't know if I'm not going to go straight up there,
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. I had a conversation with a colleague, not in my office, not in my firm, but with another agent, and that was kind of her mentality with one of her listings. And I thought, I haven't found that to work. I feel like whenever, yes,
Yeah.
yes, and negotiate it down. And I thought, no, I mean, I think at least the phenomenon that we've seen in the last couple of years is that buyers are much more willing to escalate up if they see clear value in the list price than they are to take something and try to negotiate it down.
Right.
It's like you don't want to deal with that agony, but you're willing to deal with the agony of it going up and competing,
because then I think it's based on the fact that there has to be another offer that may, with the escalation clause, they know somebody else is willing to offer that as well. So it's kind of like this different mindset. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting too, because like you said, I think what happened is obviously with COVID, a lot of things, it didn't shut down, but it definitely hampered the opportunity. I had a client that is purchasing a home and didn't even go in the home until it was under contract because of COVID and all that kind of stuff. But now obviously it's opened up more. People are having open houses, all that kind of stuff. So I do think we're having our spring market now. And it's going to be interesting because I had a conversation with the realtor yesterday, I think it was, and we were talking about not only people are anxious to get into the home before the school starts, right? Well, with school now almost being virtually in most of our counties, what is that going to look like for the housing market? Is there going to be a big push, or are we going to see, what does that look like, as the months go along? I'm going to be sure see what comes of that.
Unless, people, families and buyers are trying to get into a certain school district, you have to assume that it's not going to be this big push. And I think that, August is going to be really interesting for me because I think to your point earlier, we were talking about people are still taking vacations. They're just doing it in ways where, they're almost like, isolating themselves in a house just somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like at the beach or at a lake or, somewhere else. So I think August will still, I don't know. I mean, if inventory still runs slow, it might be the same exact thing, but it might feel a little bit more like a normal August where things settle just a bit because people are still on vacations. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Let's say.
Like you mentioned, interest rates are obviously very low. So, my gosh, sorry, my throat is bugging me. I've said this a few times, and I think I've said it on here as well, but, where we were last year to where we are now, when you look at purchasing power, you probably increased your purchasing power by about $30,000, if not more, just based on where interest rates are this past year, to this year. So it definitely, and obviously it's going to help when you see that we have these escalation clauses and our prices continuing to improve. That's obviously going to help keep you in the market and potentially open up another opportunity, of a home or an area that you may not have been able to consider or wanted to consider last year. So it's definitely, for us, I think July was our biggest purchase month as well. August is pretty strong also. So we'll see, as we get into the fall. And then obviously refinancing, that most are back. There's some still a little challenged, due to like the jumbo world and some of the high balance VA, like above the 510, even if you go over the 765,000 mark in our area, which is now then considered jumbo. They just take a little bit more time for us to find the right investor or the right pricing for it. But we're still doing them. But jumbo is still, a little bit challenged. But overall, the rates are, just things that I've been doing this for almost 18 years. And to think where we are, we're talking about masks and how weird that is. Interest rates are just like, when I say an interest rate to somebody, I just am like waiting for them to be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. The only thing I feel like is people are starting to get used to it. I don't want people to get used to it because we not know when they're going to stay in this realm. So you got to take advantage of it because who knows what the future holds. The elections are coming up, things like that. So, when I say that rate to them, I'm looking for the reaction of like, oh my God, that's amazing. And some like, oh, really? That's what it is? I'm like, what?
Right? It's like, did you know, just like,
I need to tell you what it is.
yes. Like literally the fall of 2018, wasn't that when things rose to like 5%? And people, I mean, like, oh my goodness, helter skelter. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're getting rates almost half of that.
Our rate moved up a full percent within a day. I mean, it was because it was the unknown. It was the change. None of us know what's going to happen in this November, and what may occur. We don't know what's going to happen with the virus. So there's just, it's just, you want to be able to take advantage of it because it's a huge savings for people if they're staying in their current home. And I do have a lot of clients that are choosing to stay in their home, which is where our
inventory.
Low. And they're doing things to their house. They're doing improvements.
Right.
Like that. So they're looking to get some cash out of their home because their values are good. They've been in it a while. They owe less. And so what can I do to help improve my home and take advantage of the interest rate at the same time?
I heard some statistic. You tell me if I'm wrong about mortgage originations in the last month or a quarter or some time frame was the highest in, and I don't want to say ever, but since they were being, or something like that, I thought.
Well, one statistic I had heard, I think it was towards the end of June, was that it was the highest purchased increase in like a decade or something. And
okay.
That's one statistic I had heard. I don't know refi wise like where we are, but I have to imagine that it's got to be. I mean, here's the reality is there's I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say there's like $8 to $10 trillion in mortgage volume in our country, right? That's how many mortgages are out there. Where these rates are now, I think it could be like, let's say there's 10 trillion. I think it's like 7 to 8 of that could benefit from refinancing based on where our current levels are for interest rates.
And equity, where equity is in their homes and stuff too.
Right, and where their interest rate is versus where the interest rate is now.
Right.
Our mortgage industry is capable of normally handling about 2.5 trillion a year. So if you think about it, the amount of volume that we're talking, the industry is not made
equipped.
Yeah. And so, like our company in general is hiring more people, it's creating jobs, it's creating opportunities. But it's managing that flow and still taking care of purchase clients as well as the refinances. So just be aware of that too when you're going into looking at refinancing. It's going to take some time. All companies, mine, any company you talk to, is going to have much more volume than they've ever anticipated and are equipped to take care of. And they're going to try to navigate and make that, go through as smoothly as possible for all the clients involved.
Yeah. I was one of the lenders I was talking to with the offers that were received from these 2 listings I had over the weekend. I mean, he very plainly said, listen, because of our pipeline between refis and purchase, we're almost at a 45-day settlement cycle. And I was like, eek, that sounds not good. I know you're not there at all, are you?
No. I mean, my company's motto is it's always purchases come first. So we're all, I've closed loans even in this crazy time. We've done it in 2 weeks. We've done it in 21 days. The longer we can have, of course, the better for everybody, including the client, just in the sense that it's not so rushed. Getting appraisal done, because obviously the volume there is impacting that time frame. But if we need to, and if it's something that's going to help that client, win that deal, then yes, we're going to accommodate what we need to do.
Yeah, I was surprised to have heard that from that particular lender. And to your point about interest rates, like I probably looked at 10 or 12 offers over the weekend and stuff between the two, which is not a ton. I mean, I know there's houses that are getting double digit just in one, but it's enough to see all the interest rates and we had all loan types, VA, FHA, and conventional between these 2 houses. And every one of them without fail was under 3%. Yeah. There was not one of them that was higher than 3%. And that is just so crazy. That is like free. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. So to your point,
You're down in the low twos.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Who's in the low twos?
15-year fixed.
I heard that the other day too. Oh my gosh. I have to tell you from an investment standpoint, I was like, land. We want land. So maybe now's the time to go and get land on a 15-year note. I don't know if that works, by the way. You tell me if I'm wrong, but
I only do dwelling. So you
okay.
know what the rates are right now on just land.
On land.
Yeah.
Got it.
Different, kind of a different type of loan. So
okay.
It's not under Fannie and Freddie and like the traditional. It's a little bit different guidelines and things. So I'm not familiar with where the rates are. I'm sure they're low, or lower than what they have been, but I don't know where those sit right now.
Got it. Well, I know. Well, that's one of the reasons why you and I feel like I've just been under the real estate rock, which I'm blessed for. I think that there are many parts of this country from a real estate industry standpoint that are not feeling it like we are. Right. So I am not complaining at all. But it's just, it just kind of came a little bit unexpected, at least the timing of it. And so I feel like I'm running from behind and just crazy.
Yeah. I get it. And that's what I got a video to all my past clients yesterday, just thanking them. Like, I'm so grateful, for what I get to do. I love working with clients. I love helping them, whether or not it's purchasing or, helping them save money. And my team, it's just, I feel like it's just amazing that we have these opportunities. So yeah,
for sure. Well, it was so good seeing you. I know we haven't connected as much during the last month or so as we normally do too. So it's great seeing you today.
When we get on the phone, we talk for an hour. Neither have the time.
I know. Isn't that so crazy?
Yeah, really.
Crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it sounds like we've also committed to doing this every other week, right? And we're going to hop on.
I'm going to be on vacation, so we might have to schedule a little bit, but you will be seeing it twice a month.
That's right. That's right. With guests, not just us.
This was just to catch you all up so you knew what was happening. And then now you'll be seeing us talk to others as well.
That's right. Back to our community.
Yes, exactly. So if anyone that would like to talk to us, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes, that's so true.
Or if you know of anybody that we should talk to, we'd love to hear from you regarding that as well. So the tech, you can put a message here, DM either one of us. We have our YouTube page as well. You can check out old videos, and we are going to share some of those because we did do 2 a week for 2 months, and a lot of that was really good information. So we want to make sure you guys are continuing to go back and see that.
Yes, absolutely. And so Lisa, by the way, before we sign off, Lisa put a comment saying hi, ladies. Lisa Alonso. So we have to say hi, Lisa. Yay. Thanks for watching. All right,
you too.
I'm sorry?
I said she was at the photo shoot last week too. So we're all
great.
Shots. Very excited.
Yeah, I cannot wait to I love pictures. I can't wait to get them back.
Yes.
So excited.
I will say too, Kyle, who was on with us, a couple times, our bartender, and Courtney got engaged.
I know.
Congratulations to them.
Yes, big congratulations. That is so completely special. So I'm so happy for them and the life ahead.
Yes, for sure. All right, well, take care.
Right. You too, and we'll see everyone again soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.